Hi everybody, Sean Woodland and Pat Sherwood recapping day one at the South Central region, and we start on the men's side where Roy Gamboa finds himself in the battle for the top spot on the leaderboard after 3 events. He and Jordan Cook with 28 points, and then Richard Bullocken just 2 points back. He currently sits in 3rd place, but Roy Gamboa is a guy we knew would do well in the hang squat snatch, did well in the first 2 events, but then had a little bit of a disaster in event number 3.
As a veteran, I'm sure that Roy is not happy with a 17th on Nasty Girls version 2, not at all. But when I look at his scores, and then he's also tied with 28 points with Jordan Cook, and even 3 and 4 down the leaderboard, there's no clear runaway leader. Look at the points. There's 20th place, 17th place, 29th place.
Right.
So what this tells me is this leaderboard still out there in South Central, absolutely wide open.
Well, Jennifer Heathcock spoke with Roy Gamboa following the day's first 3 events.
All right, guys, again, end of the day here in the South Central region. We have the #1 on your leaderboard for the men. Roy Gamboa joins us from Abilene. Now, wasn't the best first day overall for you. How did you get through this day mentally?
Mentally, just, I know God has a plan for me, so I'm going to have my faith in Him always and trusting in the work that I put in over the year and trying to stick to the game plan.
It's a big plus there, sticking to your game plan. Now, the point spread's really close for everyone in the top part of that leaderboard. So what are you looking at everybody around you when you're out there? What are you looking at? What are you gauging yourself on the workouts?
I really can't focus on the outside. I can only control whatever I can control. So knowing that the preparation I put in this year is going to pay off, that's what I believe in. And if I'm close to somebody and I want to try to edge them out, I'm going to try to do my best to do that.
You got to look over it then, right?
Yeah.
And what is your strategy for day 2 in order to stay on top of the leaderboard and maybe separate yourself from the pack?
Keep on moving. Keep on moving. Quit staring at that bar so long and dang it, hold on to the rope.
That's going to be a big one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Again, this is your #1 men's leader for the South Central region, Roy Gamboa. And like he said, hold on to the rope tomorrow.
Thanks, Jennifer. One of the men who represented this region along with Roy Gamboa at the games last year is Mike McGoldrick. McGoldrick currently sits in a tie for 6th. He's 8 points out of 3rd place.
Not what we expected from him, right?
No.
Here's what I think, though. I think Mike still has a shot based upon a couple of the other things I said a second ago, which is there's no one running away with this region. Yeah, he's had a couple of places he doesn't want, a 24th and an 11th, but the way that everyone's looking in the top 5 right now, I think day 2 is going to shake the hell out of this leaderboard.
Yeah, we saw a lot of this going on last year, too, where the leaderboard was always in a state of flux until the very last event. Finally, Jason Hogan, the man who currently sits in 21st place after 3 events. If you watch the live stream of event 3, you saw Jason Hogan finish it, but he was attended to by medical staff and then taken off the floor. Hogan had to go to the hospital. He has pain in his SC joint in his shoulder, pain in his clavicle, and his lower throat. So he's getting that checked out. We don't know whether or not he will be back to compete tomorrow, but Jason Hogan dealing with an injury. He sits in 21st place, so it's going to be tough for him to climb back up to the top of the leaderboard. On the women's side of things, no surprise here. Like she did last year, Jen Jones dominating early, just 8 total points. She currently sits in 1st place. Then Amanda Schwartz, 4 points up on Cassidy Lance. But Jen Jones is a little bit like Ben Smith is in the Mid-Atlantic. It's her and then it's everybody else.
I mean, if at the end of the day you have 8 points, you have single-digit points, you're doing fantastic. Just to paint the picture to the men's leaderboard, Roy Gamboa is in 1st place with 28 points. She's leading with 8, so it's a huge difference. That's just clear domination. And her worst place, the bad one, it's a 5.
Not
She's
too
doing
bad
all right
there. Well, Jennifer Heathcock spoke with Jen Jones after day 1.
We are at the end of day 1 here in the South Central region. We have the top of our women's here with us. And so you were actually just telling me, Jen, that you actually were dreading this workout, Nasty Girls version 2, because your knees are hurting. So how did you get through that?
So I have basically a pseudo knee brace underneath my knee sleeves between Arasti's awesome taping and some bands and patellar support, just anything that I could to make sure that I could get through the 150 pistols. So.
And you were saying that was the least favorite part of that, actually, and you told Nick earlier that too. Yeah. And we were just talking about your gymnastics background as well. How do you think that's going to help you, favor you this weekend?
I think that it just gives me kind of a little bit of an edge with all the body awareness movements that they've chosen to do. However, like everybody else, I've been trying to get super strong over the last year, so I feel like being stronger and heavier is kind of a counterplay to all of this gymnastic stuff. It's just a challenge that everybody gets to deal with. So.
Thanks, Jennifer. And while Jen Jones looks like she is well on her way towards another trip to the CrossFit Games, a woman who was there last year but who is in serious trouble right now, Holly Mata sits in 14th place. She's 23 points out of third.
The points are piling up really fast for Holly, and it's not only the points that she has to overcome, but another big issue, it's the women ahead of her. She needs them to have bad performances, and I just don't think that's going to happen. One of them we chatted about earlier.
Right.
Amanda Schwartz, we're like, we'll see at the end of Nasty Girls version 2. Is she the real deal? Well, what did she do? She won the whole event, got a first in that, so incredible. And then Cassidy Lance, another veteran, has moved her way into the top 3. So now with Jen Jones in first, Schwartz in second, and Cassidy Lance in the third spot, I don't think Holly Mata can have a good enough day 2 to get those women out of the top 3.
On the team side of things, there is a dominating performance going on there. CrossFit Central Downtown Black, 3 wins in 3 events. They have a 7-point lead on Team Density, and Team Ballistic currently sits a point up on CrossFit Katy for that 3rd and final spot. For Pat Sherwood, I'm Sean Woodland, and that's day 1 in San Antonio.